Welcome to the Tournament Center. I'm Rashad Miller. That's Ian Duke. We have another draft video for you. We're going to be watching Eric Froehlich. And if you take a look at this graphic, there's a lot of familiar names up here at the top. We got the 5 very experienced players here, Pro Tour staples. Down at the bottom, these 3, they're not so experienced. We got a couple of new players and, you know, a Magic Online ringer, if you would. But you know what? Let's go ahead and start the video and see what Eric Froehlich ended up with. And here we go. Starting off with a Cunning Strike at the top. I think I saw a Valorous stance. Oh, there's a Valorous stance and an Orc Sure Shot. So what's Eric thinking about right there?
Yeah, so Cunning Strike, definitely one of the strong multicolor uncommons. Probably not something he's going to commit to right away, even though it is a strong card. Valorous Stance, just a premium removal spell, as well as a combat trick.
Also a Harsh Sustenance.
Yeah, definitely one of the cards that he's going to consider here for sure. Orc Sure Shot, a solid pickup. Flame Rush Rider, not a bomb rare, but can be solid in the right deck. Personally, right here, I'd go with the Valorous Stance. It's just a really flexible card, excellent removal spell, good addition to any deck, and it leaves you wide open going forward.
Yeah, extremely flexible. I've actually seen it get some use in some standard decks.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, and so, that is the pick, Valorous
Good
Stance.
tip, when in doubt, pick the constructed card. Often works out for you.
All right, so let's see what we can add to our great white card from pack 2.
White, a fairly deep color in Fate Reforged. It doesn't have a lot of super premium commons, though.
Right. It's got some good blue cards. Got a Frost Wielder and saw a Lotus Path Djinn.
Yeah, I saw Reach of Shadows there as well, another premium removal spell if he wants to go into black. And we've seen players more than willing to go into white-black as an enemy-colored pair.
Ward Scale Dragon, probably the best white card in this pack. So
yeah, Ward Scale Dragon, solid. It's a little bit expensive to pick up this early, so we might see him shying away from that and maybe going into a second color here.
Looks like Reach of Shadows is top of the list right now.
Yep, the other one worth mentioning is Lotus Path Djinn, a top blue common, but a lot of players are averse to going into allied color, especially this early in the draft. So,
yep. Well, Reach of Shadows is the pick. Starting off black-white, enemy color. Gives them some flexibility going Mardu, maybe.
Absolutely, yeah. As we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, enemy color, a great way to start a Fate Reforged draft because it leaves you open to 2 different clans when you come to cons.
Looks like there's a Wild Call still in this pack.
Wow, that's a pretty strong signal. Now, a lot of players have mentioned green does not have a lot of strong commons in Fate Reforged, but it does have a lot of strong uncommons and rares. So it's possible that, to his right, players didn't want to move into green. Wild Call could be a good opportunity for him to read the signals and move on in.
Yeah, he also took a look at that Battlefront on Khrushchev. Not sure if he was considering it or just seeing what it does, but
yeah,
Wild Call is strong rare.
Not too much else in this pack that really stands out. I mean, he could pick up a dual land, but I don't think he's going to want to do that this early. And sure enough, yeah, he reads the signal and picks up that Wild Call.
Green Fireball is pretty good, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's good at any point in the game.
All right, so far he's picked 3 cards, 3 different colors.
Yeah, so, you know, he's just kind of staying open, reading the signals. He is in between 2 really strong players in Jacob Wilson and Frank Karsten, so he really wants to go into colors that are open.
All right, so not a lot of strong cards, and you see him kind of hand shrug as he looked at this pack. Nothing really goes along with what he already has.
Again, there's a Cunning Strike, but that means reaching even farther with his colors. Karsi High Priest is solid, if not spectacular. Battlefront Krushok, again, solid, not spectacular. Not really a whole lot from in this pack. I wouldn't be surprised if he takes the Karsi High Priest, actually.
Yep, he's going to go with the High Priest. It's in the same colors that he's already got going, and keeps his options open.
It's a cheap creature that holds value in the late game, and that's something you're really looking for in this format, since games do tend to go long.
Ooh, Whisper
of the Wilds. That is a premium pickup for him here.
That's how I like to play Magic.
Yeah, I mean, probably the best green common, I think. Having 2 drops are really scarce in this format and really at a premium since it is a morph format where so much revolves around turn 3.
There's a lot of blue cards left in this pack. A couple of them are pretty solid. That could be also a signal that color's open. Yeah,
definitely could be a signal. I think he's going to go with the green card here, but he's got to keep in mind that he did see those strong blue cards, and that could be something to move into. Again, green-blue, an enemy color combination.
Hasn't seen another white card yet. The white's been pretty scarce.
Yeah, and I think he's correct to move off of that first pick Valorous Stance.
Oh, Jungle Hollow comes to the
front.
Another
Ward Scale Dragon, too.
Not sure he's really looking at that one yet, but...
Yeah, not anymore, I don't think, but just noting that it's there. Inoc Guide, a solid pickup, but I think I'm going to go with the dual land here in his shoes.
Dual lands are a little scarce in the first pack?
Absolutely, and it's on his colors, or what are likely to be his colors here. Reach of Shadows is probably, aside from the Wild Call, the single best card he has so far, so green and black are probably the 2 colors he's really hoping to end up in from this point.
See if we can solidify ourselves a third color. Or maybe he's going to stay with two colors. We shall see. We have
another Reach of Shadows.
Wait, another Jungle Hollow.
Wow. But yeah, I mean, you can't pass up the removal spell here. You've got to just be super excited to see that card this late. Not only is that a great pickup for your deck, but it indicates that black is open to your right. And so, yeah, you can't really hope for much more than that. Just a great, great pickup for him here.
It looks like he's decided. He goes
Unfortunately,
with the Reach Shadow.
yeah, he's passing up on that Jungle Hollow, but you know, he's looking at this point to move into a two-color deck solidly. He doesn't really need that many dual lands, so he'd rather just pick up the premium cards.
All right, the pack's getting a little scarce now. Absolutely nothing for his deck.
Yeah, Erishin Warbeast is a powerful card, but at 7 mana, it's pretty slow, even for a relatively slow format.
Hey, there's an Ethereal Ambush. Maybe move into blue?
Yeah, absolutely, or even Sultai there. I think that's a great pick for him here. I don't love the Erishin Warbeast just because it's so expensive. You might as well just pick up a Tusk Colossadon or something in Khan's late pick.
Yeah.
Kind of do the same thing there.
Yeah, so now he has options in Abzan and in Sultai.
Wow,
so.
and I believe this is his original pack here, and it looks like Hunt the Weak came back and another Jungle Hollow option. So again, I think I would go with the removal spell here in Hunt the Weak, but it's not what I would consider a premium removal spell, so I also wouldn't fault him for taking the dual lands
Now,
here.
something to note, that Harsh Sustenance also table, which is another premium removal spell. Does that mean that black-white in combination could be open?
It might mean that specific combination is open, but as we've seen, white has really dried up since his first pick. Picks up a Feral Crushhawk there. Another solid creature, and just great to fill out the top end of your curve. Yeah, that's a card, it may not look exciting, but a 5-mana 5/4, I'm really happy to have that in the top end of my curve.
It does a very good job.
Yep. It can power up your Ferocious cards if you happen to pick up a couple of those.
All right, so another Karsi High Priest.
Yeah. Not necessarily a card you want in multiples, but then again,
Vengeance?
with 5 cards left in the pack, I think you're happy to pick up something you can at least consider playing here.
Maybe you have the option of playing both of them or just one. It's nice to be able to choose whether or not how many of those you want to put in your deck. Another Ancestral Vengeance.
Yeah, the thing about Ancestral Vengeance is it can be a great sideboard card against small creatures, but it is double black. So especially if he decides to move into, say, Sultai or even Abzan in pack 3, it's going to be really hard for him to cast that card on curve.
Right, unless he gets really, gets a lot of dual lands or tri lands in the next 2 packs.
Yep.
Ambush Crotique and
Sibsig Host, yeah, I mean, either of those, they're just solid curve filler creatures. I think he's hoping to not end up playing either of those cards, but having one in his pile just in case things go sour in packs 2 and 3.
Right, so just cleaning up the pack, it's probably going to take the Sibsig Host.
Now, I just want to mention Abzan Advantage. He is passing that last pick. This, of course, is sort of the edict for an enchantment. Your opponent sacrifices enchantment, and you bolster 1. 2 things to note about that card. You can cast it any time to bolster 1. Also, it kills sieges, which are prevalent in the Fate Reforged format. So it can be a good card to have in your sideboard.
Right,
so anyway.
So looking at his draft picks, looks like he's solidly green and solidly black. He has a great white card, and he has an Ethereal Ambush. So is he leaving his options open to go into one of these clans, or do you think
I think he
absolutely
absolutely is. I think from this point, we could see him going in 3 different directions. Either just straight black-green. He's got a number of powerful cards here, or he could splash white and go Abzan, adding in the Valorous stance, or probably less likely splashing blue for Ethereal Ambush, but it's really going to depend on what he opens in the Khans of Tarkir packs. So just like we were talking about, we see him starting in an enemy color pair and really keeping his options open here. And that dual land that he has, even though it's black and green, can help him splash a 3rd color just because it eases his needs on forest and swamps.
Exactly. So now we get to look at the second pack, which is the first Khans of Tarkir pack in this draft. What's he hoping to open up here?
Oh, yeah, I mean, let's see. Any number of different things. I'd say he's probably happy opening something like a Siege Rhino that could give him direction in the draft, telling him which color he wants to splash. But, really any powerful common or uncommon in black or green would be great.
Get to the rare. Ooh, Pine Walker.
Yeah, Savage Knuckle Blade, unfortunately, not something he's going to stretch for, but Pine Walker is a card he'd be really happy to pick up. Very solid uncommon.
Best green uncommon in this set?
It's definitely in contention for best green uncommon. Hooting Mandrill's also a card he'd be happy probably adding to his deck. Maybe
but not over the Pine Walker, right?
Not over the Pine Walker, but it's good to keep in mind that it is in the pack. It's probably not going to lap the table, but you never know.
Also, a Chief of the Scales is in here. If he were considering going black-white and getting aggressive, or a warrior theme, but Pine Walker's just too good to pass
We did
up.
see the Harsh Sustenance wheel in pack 1, which could mean no one's in the black and white color combination. there's a slim chance that the Chief of the Scale might come back around if he decides to go into Abzan. But again, probably unlikely, but you gotta dream.
All right, let's see what we got in pack 2. And nothing really green, not a lot of good black. This is a blank.
Yeah, he's probably pretty disappointed with this pack. I do see, I think, a Mardu Skull Hunter.
Yeah, that's
all the way on the left there.
There is a Mardu Skull Hunter peeking in the corner over here.
Which
that's probably the best card in the pack.
Yeah, it's not super flashy, but again, 2-drops are at a premium in this format, and that's one that it's solid to play on turn 2.
He's
it
even
holds
got
some value later in the game.
Mastodon set to the front too.
Yeah, one thing interesting about the black and green color combination is there are a lot of toughness matters synergies. Rotting Mastodon seems kind of silly, but with 8 toughness, if you cast a Kintree Invocation or something like that, it can really pay you off. Again, not a card you want to pick this early, but it might come back around for you.
All right, so pick 3 out of here. Another, becoming a miss. We've been seeing that in Modern, but maybe not in this deck. Doesn't seem to fit his strategy. Maybe the long shot squad seems to do more what he wants to do.
Yeah, I think Mardu Skull Hunter, Long Shot Squad, and Become Immense are probably the considerations here. It looks like he pulled Dragon Scale Boon forward. He might sort of
I see a quiet
prioritize that
speculation
card.
pulled forward too.
Yeah, we won't talk about that one. But yeah, I mean, it's really between, does he want the 2-drop here? His deck's not really shaping up that aggressive, so he goes with the Long Shot Squad.
Gives him some good defense, gives him out against flyers. Right now he's a little soft. He doesn't have any flyers or flyer defenses other than that so far.
Yeah.
And it can grow into be a big monster late game. Another long shot squad. We saw. Oh, there's a throttle.
Yeah, some good options here. Another long shot squad you'd be happy picking up. Throttle, a solid removal spell. Polluted Delta, also quite solid here, can fix his mana into Sultai and also help with Delve, which is surprisingly important.
Exactly. And there's a Nomad Outpost. That can help if he decides to be black-white.
Yeah, absolutely. Rakshasa's Secret, also a card to note here. I don't think it's what he's going to pick now. He does pick the long shot squad, just another excellent pickup there.
But I don't think he's too happy with those picks.
He's not super happy. That's a solid card to add to your deck, but not something you want just this early.
Exactly. Another long shot squad?
Yeah, Bitter Revelation, a card that isn't a super high priority, but you really want to have one in your deck just because it helps you hold steam into the late game. And these black-green decks, they're not very aggressive. The games are going to go long. Sometimes you have Rotting Mastodons and high toughness creatures in your deck.
All right, we also have a Treasure Cruise here if he decides to go Sultai, but he figures, you know what, I'm green, I'm black, I don't know if I'm blue yet. Go with the Bitter Revelation.
If he knew he was blue, I think he'd pick the Treasure Cruise there, but you know, he's still keeping his options open, so I like the Bitter Revelation there. Again, a card you're really happy to have one copy of in your deck.
And I think that Treasure Cruise ends up as part of the 3 that Yelger picked up in his draft.
Yeah, we did see that earlier. We took a peek at that. Another Jungle Hollow could be a solid pickup.
Smoke Teller, does he have any 2-drops in his deck so far?
Yeah, Smoke Teller's a fine bear, can trade with morphs. I think in black-green you don't need it as much because you have some solid defensive creatures. Sagu Archer also a consideration, but yeah, the dual land I think is what he wants to go with here. None of those other cards are strong enough to take him away from the option of having better mana fixing.
Right, so that's his second dual land. So he's only got 2, but that's fine if you're 2-color. And now we have another blue card. Actually, Riverwheel Aerialist, that's a fine dragon replacement, if you would.
It's a consideration for him here, both because the pack doesn't have much else for him, but he also doesn't have any real win conditions yet. And so it's not normally a card that would draw you into splashing another color. It may just be his, his best option on speculation here. Right, if he ends up short on win conditions or is playing blue for some other cards anyway.
Yeah, 4/5 flyer can win the game pretty fast, and it has prowess, so can win it even faster. Pack's getting a little thin here. There's another Skull Hunter. I think this is the same one he saw earlier.
Yeah, I'm looking at Skull Hunter and Scout the Borders also if he picks up some Delve cards, but I think just pick another solid 2-drop is where he wants to be now.
Now, is he looking to raid those? Or is he looking just
not
to
on turn 2, but the nice thing is it's a 2-drop you can play on turn 2, maybe trade with the morph, but if you draw it later in the game, you can squeak a little bit of extra value out of it, and that's why it could be good in this deck.
So that Chief of the Scale did table.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. I kind of surprised myself by that actually coming back around. But second Bitter Revelation here. I mentioned it's a card you love to have one of in your deck. The second one's not as good as the first, but in a slower black-green deck, it really just kind of helps.
Right. So maybe Rotting Mastodon finally sees his day in the sun.
I'd pick it up here. I like it over the Naturalize. I think it's more likely that you want the extra defense against creatures than you want to Naturalize against a single siege or something in your
Seems like there
deck.
aren't a lot of Naturalized targets in this format.
There are more with Fate Reforged, but again, it's hard to bring in one Naturalize when you've only seen one siege from your opponent. They just might not draw it.
Didn't quite get to see what that card was. Might have been a dragon. No, it wasn't a dragon skill boom, but it was a green card. I think it was the only green card in the pack. Ooh,
Yeah,
that's a
love
pretty
the Rakshasa secret here. I like this card more than most. We saw it be fantastic during yesterday's draft, actually.
Hey, I saw that card win a Grand Prix.
Yeah, Gerard Fabiano, a known secret aficionado there.
Yeah, took the war, the Heart Piercer bow, just in case of whatever. And last pick, Cranial Archive.
Yep.
So now we saw a lot of powerful two-color cards tabling in both Pack 1 and Pack 2. Tell us how the addition of Fate Reforged facilitates the things like this. Like, why are we seeing Chiefless Scales and Harsh Sustenance going around and around and around?
Yeah, so there are a couple of reasons for this. First, in Fate Reforged, there's no reason to jump into 3 colors necessarily right away. The only cards that are 3 colors involve hybrid mana. So most players are coming out of the first pack in just 2 colors, which increases the chances that a given color pair isn't represented yet, and that's what we saw in Pack 1. The second thing is there's a cycle of rare allied color dragons. You guys have seen these legendary dragons, and sometimes a player just opens one of those and moves into an allied color pair rather than an enemy colored pair. So both of those things contribute. So looking through Eric's deck right now, he has a solid deck, but he doesn't really have anything, you know,
There's nothing
it doesn't
I'm not
really have any
excited by
pizzazz
this.
yet,
Yeah,
so to
this
speak.
isn't excited. Like, his only real win condition was a Riverwheel Aerialist. that
Right,
he
and I
picked
think
up.
that's where he's really lacking here. He doesn't really have any bomb rares. He doesn't really have any clear win conditions. So I think he's really looking for
A win condition.
a premium open here, yeah.
Name the win condition. You already said Siege Rhino, so we're not going to say that one again.
Yeah, I mean, even something as seemingly silly as a Villainous Wealth could be interesting in his deck. I mean, it's not what he's looking to open here, but just as an example of a
I
card
think Marshall
that,
Sutcliffe's ears perked up. after
as
he
an
said-
example of a card that rises in value when you have a deck like this.
Oh, how
Pearl
about a
Lake
Pearl Lake
Ancient.
Ancient?
That's an example of a card that can really end the game. However,
But
it
this is double blue.
It's double blue. That's really
a big
tough.
commitment for Eric Froehlich's deck right now.
Yeah.
He only has 2 dual lands, and he's already solidly black and green.
So I think he's thinking now between the Pearl Lake Ancient, do I really want to make that leap, or do I just take the Sultai Scavenger, which is a solid card in my colors? I don't have any Delve cards yet, which makes that rise in value. So I think he's going to go with the Scavenger here.
3/3 flyer, usually costs around 4 mana.
Yeah, he may just be nervous enough about his deck that he's like, I don't love my deck. I got to get a little bit lucky. Maybe I'll just take this Pearl Lake Ancient. But no, he goes the safer route, and that's what I expect from a player like Efro.
Safe Eric Froehlich. He is
Yep.
definitely not a risk taker. I would like to see him pick up the Pearl Lake Ancient, only because I'd like.
It'd certainly be more entertaining
Yeah.
for us, Rashad.
Exactly.
Another Riverwheel Aerialist.
Hey, Sagu
Mauler. Now that is a card worth splashing.
Yeah, this
sorry to
is
interrupt
a very easy splash for him, and it's probably one of the top rares. Definitely the scariest morph when you see a face down creature.
It's only single blue. It's capable of ending the games, and it's a morph creature, which means worst comes to worst, you can just play it face down as a 2/2. Of note, there's also an Opulent Palace and an Abomination of Gudul.
Yeah,
so
so-
if he decides to move in on blue, he's got 2 potential cards that could pay him off there, a Riverwheel Aerialists too. So I doubt the Opulent Palace is coming back, but the Abomination of Gudul definitely might.
Definitely. And he's definitely taking a Sagu Mauler. That's why, we didn't even talk about that anymore. But definitely a way to win the game. 6/6 trample, Hexproof. Can end the game pretty fast. So let's see what else Eric can pick up here. Crippling Chill, Pine Walker.
Wow, he's got to be happy there. Not a super late Pine Walker, but
But a second Pine
it's
Walker
a card
for him.
he'd be happy first picking, and he's seeing it here, I think, what, 3rd pick?
Yeah, this is the 3rd pick
Yeah.
Pine Walker. He's got some scary morphs. He's got double Pine Walker and a Sagu Mauler.
Yeah, so he can really play some mind games with these. And Pine Walker, there's a little bit of cross synergy there with other morphs too. It does work
Exactly.
on other morphs when you turn them face up. So of note in that pack, there's an Archer's Parapet, which is a card that might come back around for him.
Yeah.
And speaking of 2-drops, that's the kind of 2-drop you do want in these black-green decks because it can block even later game creatures and ping your opponent.
And they can stall the game out so that he can get his things online like Sagu Maulers.
Yep. So,
Speaking of, each feature a Parapet.
yeah,
There's one right
Parapet
there.
and a long shot squad. Given that he already has 2 long shot squads, I think he's going to take the Parapet. There's also a Sultai banner in here. I don't think that's his pick now, but
Do you think that's a consideration?
it's a slight consideration just because he has a slower deck. He does have several 5-drops in the form of Pine Walker and the Sagu Mauler as well. So
Yeah.
it can both help him splash and also ramp.
And if he can pick up that second Parapet, he's able to hold the ground
Yep.
while he's paying his banners on turn 3.
Absolutely.
All right. Speaking of holding the ground while you play banners, we had a Disowned Ancestor.
Yeah,
but a
we first saw
Hoodoo
we first saw the Disowned Ancestor, and I got excited. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's a card I'd love to pick up. Then we saw the Hooting Mandrills, and I'm like, all right, I think that's going to be our pick here.
But what about this Dismal Backwater? We know
Ooh.
for a fact that we're splashing blue because
Great
of that
point.
soggy
Yeah,
mala.
great point, Rashad. I didn't see that one right off the bat. That's tough. Hooting Mandrills is a card I really like to pick up, but he does have a lot of solid, just toughy creatures already, so he doesn't really need that extra 4/4 body. And for that reason, he decided to go with the Dismal Backwater.
That's his third dual land. He's kind of getting exactly where you want to be with the amount of dual lands that you have in the deck.
Yep. Merek Nightblade, a fine pickup here.
Yep, fine pickup is pseudo removal, suggests a removal, suggests a trade. There's also a Water Whirl. Double blue, probably not what he's looking at.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he's going to go for the Water Whirl. There was a Disdainful Stroke in that pack too. That's a card he could consider splashing as a sideboard card. Probably not going to main deck it.
So this deck is kind of, it's going somewhere.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get a Disowned Ancestor here. Not a lot else going on. He's got some solid early game. He's able to hold the ground in order to get his Pine Walkers and Cycle Maulers online, maybe even finish off the game with a Riverwheel Aerialist.
Yep, he's probably wishing he had something like a Kin Tree Invocation now to go with all these Archer Parapets and Disowned Ancestors.
Yeah, his deck isn't very tricky either.
It's got a couple morphs. Yep.
Yeah, a couple morphs, a couple of good removal spells. Speaking of having a couple of morphs, there's a Secret Plans.
Interesting. Yeah, the tough thing about the Secret Plans here. So first of all, I think he's going to go with the Karu Bloodsucker.
Yeah.
The reason is the Secret Plans. It's hard for him to cast it on turn 2,
right?
Which he really wants to do before he starts deploying his morphs.
And this has synergy with a lot of the cards
It
that
has
are already
synergy
in
with
this deck.
the high toughness creatures that he has. Also, I don't think he has quite enough morphs to make Secret Plans work. I think he really wants 7+.
Yeah, I think he has maybe 4.
Yeah.
There's a Kumar Bonkin.
Yeah, that's got to be the pick for him here. Not much else.
Oh, there's a Gurmak Swift.
Yeah, Bat Chroma, we used to call it in R&D. It's got all the keywords.
Just one more piece of toughness. Maybe 1/3. Just so you can just keep attacking forever. And there's that Abomination Bedelia.
All right, so we're calling the wheels here. That's great. That's a really solid pickup for him here. Further justifies splashing blue.
He really wants to see that Archer's Parapet come back as well.
Yeah, that would be great. A flyer, very importantly. I don't think he really has any other flyers in his deck. He's got the River Wheel.
He has a River Aerialist and he has the Sultai Scavenger.
Yeah, so Karu Dreadmaw, again, he doesn't need just the fatty body there. He's going to take Feed the Clan instead. Both play a similar role in staving off aggressive decks, but he'd rather just have the spell here than the 5-drop creature.
Even our spotter behind him was like, wait, what did you take? After showing the Feed the Clan
Sometimes
again.
you got to feed the clan, man.
There's a Sultai Banner. Might as well take it. Maybe it makes the cut.
He might actually play that. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, the Parapet didn't come back, so that's a little bit disappointing for him. But he does have the Disowned Ancestor and one Parapet to kind of hold the ground. So let's grade Eric.
Okay.
Let's grade his seat. How well did he draft the seat that he was in?
I think he drafted his seat very well. He definitely found the open colors. That Reach of Shadows in pack 1 definitely told him black was open. The Wild Call in pack 1 definitely told him green was open. And he stayed very disciplined. He stayed on track with black and green cards the whole time through, kept his options open, and moved in when he finally saw blue there. So I definitely give him at least, I give him an A, I'd say, as far as drafting in his seat.
All right.
Definitely agree with his picks.
Grade the deck.
The deck, I'm going to give it a B-. It is solid, definitely capable of, getting some wins. Unfortunately, it's good at stalling the early game and lasting to a later game, but it doesn't have a ton of punch in the later game. And so a lot of the games are likely to play out that he survives a long time, but then maybe loses to a more powerful deck. So I'd expect probably to go 2-1 with this deck for a player like Efro.
There you have it. 2-1 for Efro with his deck. Reporting from the Tournament Center, that's Ian Duke and Rashad Miller. Thanks from the Tournament Center.